What would you do if you inherited $4 billion? Hi everyone, Ken here. Today we are setting off to Long Island to explore the country estate of Marshall Field III. Make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an exciting episode of This House. In 1893, Marshall Field III was born into incredible wealth in Chicago. His grandfather had founded Marshall Field & Company, which went on to be one of the most successful retail chains of all time. When he passed away, his fortune was held in a trust until his grandsons were old enough to spend the money wisely. But by the time the trust matured, only one grandson would stand to inherit it all. Marshall Field III, who we will just refer to as Marshall from now on, had been afforded every comfort in life. He was raised in England, where he attended the University of Cambridge before moving back to Chicago. There he founded an investment firm and began making millions of dollars, building his own fortune independent of the inheritance he would one day receive. In 1917, his brother passed away, leaving him as the sole beneficiary of his grandfather's estate, totaling $125 million, or the modern-day equivalent of nearly $4.4 billion. As mentioned, Marshall was already wealthy. By the time his inheritance hit, he had already made a name for himself in the world of finance and had built his dream house. In 1921, he purchased nearly 2,000 acres on Long Island's Lloyd Harbor. Over the next 4 years, the property was developed to not only include his mansion known as Caumsett Hall, but extensive grounds were planned which were fully staffed to support his lavish lifestyle. By 1925, not only did he have one of Long Island's largest estates, he owned one of its largest houses as well. Starting from the gatehouse, we will enter the property from the main road. Then we wind our way up the drive through the thickly forested landscape. Along our way towards the house, we can pause to explore the tennis courts. Not only were the tennis courts lit by dozens of electric lights, an entire half of the roof was made of glass, allowing the natural light to flood the courts. As we continue our journey towards the house, we see the stables off in the distance. Marshall was an equestrian enthusiast to say the least, and became known for his keen ability to breed winning racehorses. The sheer beauty of the stables is enough to draw us in, but we still have much more to see. The estate was designed to be entirely self-sufficient, with its own pump house and cattle farm, ensuring the family always had fresh meat. Not only that, the vegetable garden was laid out in the likeness of a parterre garden, where the family could wander about and admire their produce as if it were an edible park. All throughout the property, generous accommodations were made for the dozens of staff, many of whom had their own cottages to house their own families. Finally, we come into view of the main house, Caumsett Hall, adapted from the indigenous name for the land, meaning placed by a sharp rock. The sprawling Georgian estate stood proudly above the water as one of the largest homes ever built on Long Island. It had been designed by renowned architect John Russell Pope and was received well by critics who called it one of America's most beautiful homes. Let's return to the front of the mansion and make our way through the front door. This brings us into the round vestibule with dotted marble floors leading us into the entrance hall. The public rooms are all organized off the entrance hall. We will start by heading towards the stair hall. As we pass through a nearly 12-foot tall archway, the iron balustrades sweep along the steps to welcome us in. This grand space has been modeled after English country estates, with stone blocks and wood paneling cladding the walls in sharp contrast to each other. The upper walls have been framed by a gilded frieze supported by fluted pilasters in which intricate murals have been painted. We will explore the second floor soon, but for now let's head across the entry hall to find the library. The library, with its rich wood paneling, was furnished with English antiques and modern American furniture. Marshall's desk was positioned directly in front of the window so he could work by sunlight. Across the hall from the library, we find the card room, a comfortable space where Marshall could entertain his friends long into the evening. Next, we will cut back through the entrance hall, which opens onto the loggia, where we can imagine the salty breeze wisping by. Here we are just steps away from some of the most scenic views on the property, looking out over the water. Returning back inside and mirroring the card room on the opposite side of the loggia is the gun room, another sitting room where the men could gather before their hunts on the property. The last room we will see on the first floor lies just beyond the double doors at the end of the stair hall. This brings us to the dining room, which was decorated at the height of fashion for the day with carpeted floors and a crystal chandelier. The sheer size of this massive room is deceiving from when we first walk in. It isn't until we step back that we can truly take in its size. Upstairs, we can begin to explore the many lavish bedrooms, starting with Mrs. Field's bedroom. Her bedroom was the largest in the house and stocked with fresh flowers from the garden every morning. Marshall Field's bedroom was considerably cozier and decorated with photos of his prized horses. By comparison, the guest rooms make Marshall's room seem almost unfitting for such a grand estate. Some were fitted with wood-paneled walls, boasting built-in cabinets, far more luxurious than his simple chamber. But perhaps it's for the best that he got to enjoy his money the way he wanted to. His health began to rapidly decline as an inoperable brain tumor grew by the year. After spending 20 years living in his dream home, he passed away at the age of only 63 years old in 1956. His wife Ruth continued to live a long, full life, not passing away until nearly 40 years later in 1994. But long before her passing, she sold nearly the entire property to the state of New York for the bargain price of $4 million to be used as a state park. Today, Caumsett State Historic Park Preserve continues Marshall's legacy by welcoming visitors to explore the grounds. Over the years, a wing of the mansion was demolished, but the main structure continues to stand even if it is not open to the public itself. Which part of Caumsett Hall was your favorite? Let me know down below in the comments section, and while you're there, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an exciting episode of This House.